Welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Richa Dewan with us. Richa graduated with a law degree from ILS Law College, Pune, and is an advocate enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi, India. And during her time in India, Richa specialized in criminal litigation across the various courts in New Delhi, where she successfully represented various high-profile clients in white-collar crimes, economic offences cases, which were valued to more than 500 million. And now she resides in Dubai, and where she advises her clients on litigation and corporate commercial matters under the laws of UAE and GCC region, and in dispute resolution and arbitration before DIFC, DIAC, LCIA, to name a few. So now, without further ado, let's dive into more about her. And hi, Richa, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm happy to. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, indeed.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And now, Richa, you have experience in criminal law in India and corporate law in UAE, and you're also nearly qualified as solicitor in England and Wales. So, how do you say you have adapted to the myriad of jurisdiction you have exposed to?
Well, it's definitely been challenging. Each jurisdiction is culturally different and it comes with its own set of complexities. So I think the key while moving from one jurisdiction to another, or in fact learning a different set of laws, is to use a comparative perspective. As the foundational components of law remain the same, assessing how these different foundations manifest in each system of law helps in adapting to the nuances of each system. So at the end of the day, it's important to remember that your learning as a lawyer never ends. And as long as you continue to put in the effort and remain flexible, adaptation is less of a challenge as it would seem.
Great. Uh, Now, I'd like to ask you, like, how, what would you do if you were asked to work on a case, contract, or business scenario that gave you ethical qualms?
Well, I believe that preventing conflict of interest and maintaining confidentiality and protecting the interest of a client are a few of the main principles that lawyers must adhere to. While we all have our personal beliefs, we have a duty to fulfill. And in fact, even when I practiced criminal litigation and defended individuals accused of white collar crimes, I had to set my personal beliefs aside and put my best defense forward for the client. And in my profession, I think it's important to remember that often our efforts determine the future of individuals, and even companies and clients rest a lot of hope on our advice. So it's important to know yourself as a lawyer and the boundaries you have drawn for yourself so that when at least you take on a case, you are able to abide by your professional duty without having to struggle with compromising on your professional integrity or personal integrity. So I think that's how you need to ensure that you can stay and give the best defense to a client while maintaining all your balances in place.
I mean, that's very, very nicely explained, and thank you for that. So now I'd like to ask you, like, how do you handle a disagreement with a superior over a legal matter at your workplace or anywhere else?
You know, disagreements honestly I think have to happen in a practice of law, and it's in fact I think the most it's really important for a development of a lawyer as well, because two lawyers can reach different opinions about an issue and both can still be correct, because ultimately it's about the interpretation of the law. And it's even more difficult when one of them works for the others, when you have a disagreement with a senior. So I think part of being a successful lawyer is learning how to make one's voice being heard without without being overbearing. I've always attempted to articulate my conflict and always know when you have to agree to disagree, as long as I know that I've at least been able to put my point across. And thankfully, I'd have to say that I've been lucky enough to have superiors who've always encouraged me to express my disagreements and opinions. And I think it's important that young lawyers remember that while their seniors often need them to voice their alternative opinions, because as the law is ever evolving, there are always new perspectives that you could see the same section, let's say, with. And so eventually, it's only through a debate and a discussion that you can arrive at the best strategy for your client. So it's important to voice your opinions, but of course, know when to, draw that limit and know that, okay, I've made my point and now there's a reason why someone's your superior. So maybe they are a better judge of it in the end of the day.
Exactly. It's always the experience. And now, as we all know, that we have been actually listening to this since a long time. Like some would say that the criminal litigation is a boys' club. So, what would you say to women aspiring to be a criminal litigation?
Well, I'd say it's a boys' club, but like most things, we're better at it. No, well, see, I mean, you look at Menaka Guruswamy, Seema Samriddhi, Karuna Nandi, Indra Jaising, Brinda Grover, they've all shattered the glass ceiling and become the who's who of litigation in India. In fact, there are advantages that I think women lawyers have over their male counterparts in litigation, especially when it comes to client management, because client management is a huge component, especially in criminal law, where the issues are sensitive. I have seen that most female lawyers have had a relatively higher emotional quotient, which helps them navigate these issues with their clients by adopting, the requisite amount of sensitivity and tact while handling the situation. So, I mean, I'll have to say you have to be relentless, you have to be determined. And there are often chambers, and you'll often struggle with, employment or in chambers which just simply don't hire women because of preconceived notions. But it's important to stay determined with your eye on the prize. And there, of course, are limitations. For example, I couldn't go to the police station or the ED at night when my client's either arrested or going to be arrested, because simply safety concerns. But it's never deterred me from ensuring that my clients' needs are met. So I think keep your eye on the prize and you'll find it. And there are definite advantages that I think you will notice when you come into the field.
And is there anything else apart from this that you would like to share on this particular thing?
Well, I mean, you do realize sometimes that there are things. For example, when you're dealing with investigating agencies, they may not be as forthcoming with you as a woman as they would be with your male counterparts. But as long as you're confident and you can handle it, and you don't take a step back or put yourself at a back burner simply because you're a woman, I can't do it. I don't think you have anything to be afraid of, because I mean, safety is a concern that may have been there at a point. I think it's definitely become better. But you need to be determined that you have to make your way and get what is best for your client, regardless of your gender. And the minute you stop thinking that, no, I'm a woman and I can't do this, I think that's when half the battle is won, because you need to be as confident as you can be.
I understand it completely, and thank you so much. And Richa, as you all know, that time is money in any profession, and in legal is most of all. So, how do you ensure to make the best use of your time as a lawyer?
I'd say there are two key elements to this. There is prioritizing and client management. As a first step, I think it's essential that a lawyer understands the needs of the various clients and the urgency of the work needed to be done. And while every client is important and equally important, I also know how flexible each client is when it comes to the deadlines. So I've realized that while clients prefer, obviously, and like most clients prefer a response on the very same day, but even if you just spend about 10 minutes, just quickly run through the email, send out a clarificatory email, then it buys you enough time and yet gives the clients an assurance that their needs are being taken care of. And so that, the work is started on the very day I've sent the file. And after assessing these factors, you're able to prioritize your work with the help. I mean, that's what I do. I keep a tracker and I have everything in terms of priority, and you can keep editing as and when the week goes by. And there are a lot of online organizational tools that are immensely helpful. But I think key is prioritizing, and definitely client management in terms of managing client expectations, because you may be free at a certain point, but you need to be wary of how your week is coming out or the next month is coming out, so you know how to give a reasonable deadline despite what the client wishes for.
And I mean, this is just, I'm just asking you this as an additional question. So, how do you manage your time when you travel? Because sometimes you are in Dubai and sometimes you are in India. So, how do you actually manage all that?
Well, I mean, I think COVID has taught the world to function in a remote manner. It doesn't matter now which location you sit in, whether you have hearings, whether you have arbitrations, anything. I think can all be done through a simple laptop, and it's just I think I thankfully Dubai and India don't even have much of a time difference, so I don't struggle with that. But I mean, again, when I'm traveling, I always set the first half of the day to finish my work so that the rest of the day I'm free to do whatever else I can. Of course, when work demands more time, you spend more time. But travel, I think, again, it comes down to prioritizing. When you have your deadlines and there are some things urgent, you will have to prioritize whether it's your personal work, whether it's your professional commitments, however it is. So priority is key.
Absolutely. And to end on a lighter note, what is your stress buster?
Well, painting. I have loved painting and I've been doing it since school. Often, work gets too hectic and you just need a couple of hours to yourself. And whenever I've had the chance, I have always taken just a canvas and I've turned up my music. And just somehow when you're doing that, you go into a trance and all your fatigue and all your worries seem to, rather wither away. So I definitely recommend that everyone make time for their hobbies as they did when they were younger. And I've also, in fact, and I think it's important because I've realized that when you are able to do that and just spend a little time on yourself, it also allows you to approach your professional commitments, your challenges with a different perspective, with a renewed energy and a focus, which I mean, it always helps with your development. So I think it's key, and I would definitely recommend, especially lawyers, because we're, I think, always on the job somehow. So I think it's important that everyone makes time for some of their hobbies that they had, so you can stay focused and still be mentally healthy.
Absolutely, that actually helps, and it always helps an individual to reach his goal or to actually achieve his targets or the set goals which he has uh, set for himself. So now, thank you so much, Richa, for sharing such great insights with us, and we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal space. So for our viewers, if you like this chat with Richa Dewan, please like and share this video as much as you can. And also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming from the international legal space. Thank you so much. This is Nikhil for LexTalk World.
Thank you, Nikhil. It's been a pleasure speaking.
Thank you so much.